Hi there, this is Crystal and I'm back with another spread in my Week in the Life album from 2018. I am up to Wednesday. I already have my photos printed and I did go through and pick some cards. It was just taking forever to find the cards that I wanted, and I printed out the newly re-released digital sets of Brandi Kincaid's from Feature Craft. They were released in May. And it just added to the bulk of my stack of cards. In fact, let me show you. These are just the 3x4 cards, and this is what I have left. So it took a long time to flip through all of these for all of the spots that I had open, and I just didn't want to have to do that on camera and put you through all of that, and then the editing of it would just be a nightmare. So I went ahead and went through them and pick them out already. So you can see I just have them kind of stuck in the pockets next to my photos, and what I have left to do obviously is embellish and journal and put the whole thing together. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take this out of the album and just start embellishing. So I've taken the first spread out of the pocket so that it's easier to work with, and I'm just trimming down this one journal card. It was a little bit tight in the pocket, so I just wanted to trim a tiny bit off the edge to make it a little bit smaller and to make it fit in the pocket a little bit better. And then I'm going to go through the die cuts from the Mark Your Place kit. So this is one of the 2 or 3 kits that I purchased the actual physical copy of, and it came with this die cut set. And there are so many things in this die cut set that work perfectly in this album. I had a really hard time choosing this spot, but I'm gonna go with that one. It's a little stack of kind of like magazines that say "Make It Work," and the colors just worked really well with the card and with the book photo in the bottom of the spread. And now I'm gonna go through this little container of it's kind of mostly tickets and things that I have pulled together for this kit that I've kind of created for myself. And I find one, a large one from Ali Edwards that says "Today's Story," and I'm going to add that to the large 6x8 photo. And then I also found a circle die cut with a sun on it. That was one of the Feature Craft, the Brandi Kincaid for Feature Craft die cuts from a cut apart. I can't quite remember which one at the moment. And then I'm just going to go through the rest of these little circles and see if I can find any others that I want to use on this spread. I do find one that says "So Much Yes," and I first had it on the book photo, but I'm going to move that up to my coffee cup and put it right in the center, and I really like the way that that looks. I'm just going to continue to look through the rest of these to see if there's anything else that will work. And then I'm going to move on and go through all of the rest of the embellishments that I have pulled aside for this album. So this takes a long time to go through all of these things each time. And I think what I've learned about myself is that I do much better when I have a smaller kit. So when I'm working with something a bit more contained, a bit more edited down, then I go much faster, and I don't struggle over each decision as much as I do when I have all this stuff out in front of me. And I'm actually I'm recording this video super late at night, like way later than I normally create. I'm normally in bed at the time that I am recording this video, so I was also really slow and experiencing some decision fatigue. I was kind of struggling, so I actually stopped the video and ended up coming back to it the next day, but you'll see that here in a little bit. So I need a label. Actually, I need 2 labels, but I think I'm only going to pull out one at this point for that book photo. I don't know that I have a lot to say about it. It just needs something, and I want to use one of the puffy stickers from Citrus Twist Kits that says "Routine." And it just needs a label to live on that photo, otherwise it doesn't stand out enough. It's kind of a gray color, and it just blends into the background of that photo. So the little label helps it stand out, and it also gives me a spot to add a stamp. So I will eventually add a stamp that says "Reading" to that label as well. So I want to pop up this die cut on some foam, and that's just fun foam. It's adhesive on one side. You can buy it at any big box store. It's very inexpensive, and it comes in sheets, and you can just cut it down to whatever size you need. And it's really nice and thin. It's thin enough to use in pockets like this. So I really like using it when I'm working in pockets, especially. And then I'm just adhering the rest of everything down. I'm going to start going through the stamps. That big label on that 6x8 photo definitely needs something on it. It's looking very blank, so I decide to add one of the stamps from the high and low kit, and that says step by step. And then I'm going to add another stamp below that that says piece it together, and I think that one is from the Make It Matter stamp set. I'm just looking for something that will fit in that spot, and then I eventually find the one that I go with. There's still going to be a pretty large blank space on this little tag on this photo, and it bothers me a little bit, but I'm going to come back to it and figure something out later. Like I said, lots of decision fatigue happening at this point in time. So I need to write the date. There's a little spot for the date at the bottom of that tag, so I've just grabbed my gel pen, and I'm just adding the date there. And I had some trouble with the gel pen. It didn't want to write for some reason, but eventually it worked out, and it ends up looking a little sketchy, and I kind of actually like the way that it looks, so I'm kind of glad it turned out that way. So here's where I add the reading stamp to that label. And I do end up adding another label to this page as well, like I said, but I don't do that quite yet. So I want to adhere this photo, the large 6x8 photo, to the large 6x8 card that's on the other side, just so they don't move around in the pocket. The pockets that I have are a little bit larger than 6x8, so they tend to kind of shift around if I don't glue them together. At least this way, if they shift around, they're both shifting together instead of one sticking out in weird ways behind the other. So I'm adding the title, Wednesday, and that is a digital stamp from Allie Edwards. It's in her handwriting, and I just took that PNG file into Silhouette Studio and created a cut file, and I cut it twice out of black cardstock so it has a little bit of dimension to it, and then just adhered those together with that same glue pen I used to adhere it to the card. So now I'm just looking for something to embellish this with, and I really like that little blue banner. I love the combination of that kind of purpley color, that plum color with that minty teal color. So I'm going to add that below it and add a stamp to it that says love this part. And I think that was from the Mark Your Place stamp set. And then I just added a little moth above that that was in that same color. And that is going to do it for my title card. I can start slipping everything back in the pockets and move on to the next spread. So I have the next spread all out of the pockets and ready to go. I had pulled out a few embellishments that I found as I was going through them the first time that I thought I might use on some of these cards. So there's that little die cut that says library, and I thought I'd use it on the right hand side, which is all about me at work. So I'm just looking for a label to add to this top photo. That is a photo of just our morning activities, and I will do most of the journaling in that card below it, the one that says we are here. And then I found this little girl die cut as well, and I thought library girl was kind of a fun thing to add since I am a librarian and was working at the library. I thought that was just something different and fun to add to one of the photos there. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going through the rest of the embellishments. So I'm definitely starting to slow down here. You can see I'm making some mistakes. I'm not thinking things through. Like this, I did not get it anywhere near the right spot. That puffy sticker was over to the right way too far, and then neither of them were touching the top of the photo, so I had to trim the photo because I couldn't lift up that puffy sticker. It was well stuck to the photo. I really should have just stopped here and called it a night and started fresh in the morning, but I tried to persevere. I tried to keep going to get more of this done so that I could share it with you. So again, going through all the embellishments, I have all the things laid out on my table, and I do find a few more to add. So I added the word Wednesday. There's a die cut that says Wednesday to the We Are Here journaling card, and then I added a puffy sticker, or no, that's not a puffy sticker, it's just another die cut that says this was today to the orange label on my tea photo. Both of those are from Citrus Twist Kits. And then I just adhered down that other die cut, and I'm looking at the stamps to see if there's one that I can use. Under that this was today on that orange label, I want to add a stamp there. I'm just not sure which one yet. I will end up going with one that says Be Bold. I think that's from the Make It Matter kit. Yeah, it's that one right there. So I do add that one and a little gold staple to finish that off. And then I just keep looking through all the things to figure out what else I can add here. I think this is basically where I leave it. So it's not anywhere near finished, but I decided to just walk away and move on to the next spread, thinking I will come back to it later, which I obviously do. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to put this away and get out the next spread and start working on it. So I'm trying to just do the things that are easy, that I know need to be done, and not have to make some of the higher level decisions, I guess, since I am so exhausted. And my allergies were absolutely kicking my butt at this point. They still kind of are, although I'm a little bit better now. But yeah, it was not a fun day, not a fun time. But yeah, just trying to persevere here. Okay, so both of those photos were 4x6 photos, but they did not print correctly. And rather than reprint them, I just decided to trim them down and add a 4x6 card behind each of them. So I cut them in half because I didn't have 4x6 pockets. I had 3x4 pockets. So I just adhered them to the 4x6 cards that I had already cut in half. And it works out fine, and that way I didn't waste paper and ink, because there was nothing wrong with the photo. It just didn't quite print the right size. It was kind of askew on the photo paper, so I just had to trim them down square and put some papers behind it, and it worked out just fine. So looking through all of the embellishments once again, I did find a little flower I thought would look cute on the photo of Jesse's iced tea. I think that's what it is. I think it's an iced tea out in the backyard. And it also covered up the ugly mower that was in the corner. So that was a good coincidence, and I'm going to go with it. And then I find another one of these little Allie Edwards flag stickers, and I'm going to add it again to a label just to make it more substantial, since they're rather small, and add it to the top of that photo. And I find another puffy sticker that says mindset, I believe. Yeah, mindset, and I add it to the top of that filler card. And then I also find a die cut to add to the photo of the dogs. I think it says here we go again, and another die cut to add in that little window opening on that journal card that says inside. So I keep looking through all of the embellishments, but this is going to be all I do to this page for tonight, and then I will come back to it later on. But I'm just going to adhere everything down, and then I'm going to move on to the next spread. So this is the last 2-page spread for Wednesday, and I have a couple filler cards on the left-hand side, and I'm just going to add a puffy sticker to each one. The one on the rest card says not in the plan, and under unplug it says letting it go. Both of those are from Citrus Twist Kits. And I'm just looking through the embellishments that I have, because I know I have some that are craft themed from that Make It Matter kit, and I just didn't know what I did with them, so I was looking for them. And in the meantime, I found another puffy sticker that says me time, which I thought worked really well for my crafty photo. And eventually I remember that what I'm thinking of are these little circles. So I find one that says this is my craft, and another one that has a little pair of scissors on it, and I pull both of those out to use on this spread, but I can't figure out how I want to use them. the decision fatigue is fully set in at this point, and I'm dropping things. I am definitely ready for bed. It is well past my bedtime. So I play around with it for a minute, but eventually I'm just gonna decide to put it away and go to bed and try again tomorrow. So here in a second, I'll be back to talk to you in real time. Hello again. So it is the next day for me. I was extremely tired and not thinking clearly, so I decided it was best to put it up and start fresh with a new day. So I took advantage of the time away from the camera to do some journaling. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about now. So I had a journaling card here. It was this one. And I had somebody comment on my last Week in the Life video about printing or journaling with the typecast typewriter, and if I had any tips, which I think is a great idea. I'll put together a video talking about how I use the typecast typewriter, but I wanted to show you quickly that it is not a foolproof product. So I had this card printed. I used some tape runner to adhere it to just a scratch piece of paper. It was just a 8.5 by 11 printer paper, and then I ran it through the typewriter. But if you type too close to the bottom, then this happens. So the ink kind of gets all over the place, and it got caught in the little mechanism, and I had to use my hands and pull it out, and then I of course touched the top of the card and got ink everywhere. So this is a mess. This is no good. I should have stopped. If I had stopped at the line before, then it probably would have been okay. But I had like 3 more words I wanted to include, so I tried to keep going, and it just doesn't work. So you can't type too close to the bottom of a card when you're typing on something small like this, on a 3x4 or 4x6 card. I don't know that it does the same thing on a large sheet. I guess it probably would, but I don't ever type that close to a large sheet. I'm always typing somewhere towards the middle. So that's one tip I will say. If you have a 3x4 card, definitely always adhere it to something larger. You can run it through on its own, it will work, but only in this area here, like really only in the center. If you need to type towards the bottom or the top, you're best to adhere it to something else first. And then even still, you can't really type close to the bottom. So keep that in mind. So this is trash. This is no good. So since I had to reprint that card anyway, I decided to just do my journaling on my computer. So I just did the journaling for the 2 spots that I had and printed it out on my computer. That made it a bit easier for me. I also did some journaling on a few labels and added a digital stamp while I was at it, and then printed some more labels because I've been going through those rather quickly. So I'm going to cut this apart, and I also, before I did that, the journaling card I messed up, I did do some journaling on a little label, and that worked out fine. So yeah, this didn't have any trouble, but that journaling card sure did. Okay, so I'm going to go and cut this up and then get started finishing up this day. So now that I have my journaling cards all trimmed and ready to go, I can start putting everything back in place. So I added that Wednesday die cut again to this new card, and then just added a couple staples to finish it off. And then I'm going to trim out this little label. I actually added a digital stamp to the center of it that I recolored just to work better with my spread. And that one says, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood," I believe. That's from the Inside and Out kit. And I just add that to this little weather photo. And I had to trim off the top of these. For some reason, they were a little bit bigger than 4 inches, and they were sticking out of the top of the pocket. So I just needed to take about 1/4 inch off of each one. And then I'm doing the same thing with this other journal card with the window on it. I just peeled off that die cut and added it to the new one. And then this one, it hadn't printed right the first time, and I thought I could just live with it, but since I was printing things anyway, I just went ahead and added it to the print job and printed off one that looks a little bit better. And then I added that label to the first page of my spread. So the other 2 labels that I have with journaling go on this back page. So there is a last kind of half spread as the final page for this day, and both of those journaling cards go there. And then I'm also going to add this little circle die cut from one of the printable sheets, and I can't again remember which one that is, but you may have been able to read it there on the sheet, but it's too small on my screen. So to embellish this, I'm going to add that little light bulb to that circle die cut. And I was looking through the rest of them, but eventually I just stop and say, no, the light bulb looks fine, just go with that. So I'm learning, I guess. I'm starting to just take what works and move on. So I'm just going to adhere all of this down, and then I will add a tiny attacher staple to this card here. And I remember that I have a little music note circle embellishment, so I'm going to go grab that and add it to the band photo, or the photo of the band rehearsal. And then this one is all done, so I can slip it back in the pocket and work on the rest of the spreads, getting them finished up. On the back side was that the photos of my me time, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe them. And I had two 3x4 photos, or actually a 3x4 journal card and a 3x4 photo in a 4x6 pocket. So to keep them in place, I need to just stick them together with a little washi tape. So I just grabbed an old roll of washi and added it to the back of these two 3x4 pieces so that they work in the 4x6 card. And then I'm going to add a label over the top of both of them. So I was playing around thinking I would add it up at the top of the spread, but I'm going to eventually add it here where I have it now. And that kind of ties those two together. And I really like how the colors work in this part of the spread. I think that they match really well and kind of pull the whole thing together, and it makes it stand out as its own little story. So just looking through the stamps again, I want to add one to this label since I don't really have a lot of journaling to say, or any more than what will fit on that label in the top part of this spread. So I add one that says creativity is contagious, I believe, and then add that scissor die cut just above it, and the other circle die cut in the center of that top photo, and add again a few more tiny little gold staples. And then I do have a couple lines of journaling to add to that label under the Me Time sticker. So I just grabbed a gel pen, and I'm writing, making time to do some self-care and be creative. It's how I recharge. And then I think I grab a set of tiny phrase stickers. Yes, okay, so I have my Tim Holtz phrase sticker set here, and I decided to pull it out because I felt like it needed just some more finishing touches, and there's always something in this set that will work for just about any photo I have. So I'm going to go back and add one to that light bulb as well. So I'm going to add a black one there that says stay strong, and the one I added to the other photo says start doing things you love. Okay, so moving on. So since I have it out, I decided to add a few more of these phrase stickers throughout the day's spreads. So I find one that says it's all perspective, and I'm going to add it to this photo of the backyard. Jesse sent that to me. I think I was at work still, and he was in the backyard at lunch. And he sent me two, actually. One was focused on his tea, and the other was focused on the dogs in the background. So I thought that it's all perspective worked really well for that. And then I add another one to my library girl photo that says great things take time. At this point at the library, I was very stressed out. I was working towards a large promotion that didn't end up happening, but at this time I didn't know that yet. And I was working really hard to make it happen. So I thought that great things take time phrase was kind of perfect for that. Moving on to the other side of the spread, I have a photo of my computer in the morning. My journaling talks about how in the morning I have time to do some creative work, some crafty work. So I was updating my blog this morning, and so I just did two stamps that said morning activities, and then a little sticker that said 8 a.m. since that's what time it was. The library doesn't open till 9, so I have plenty of time in the morning to do all the things that need to get done. And then I'm going to add another one to that blank space on this tag that's on the 6x8 photo. So I thought that would be the perfect thing to fill in all of that empty space there, and it worked out really well. It says, live, create, tell the story. So I think I'm just about done. I decided to go ahead and stick everything back into the album, and then I decide to add one more thing here in a second. The photo, or rather the journal card, or filler card, that is of the library, I decided I wanted to add the phrase at work. So I was looking for some little alphas. The ones I had didn't really work out, so I went to my stash of little tiny alpha stickers, and found some little tile stickers from Studio Calico that were the perfect color. And I'm just going to spell out at work in a diagonal along that street. So I'm using the center of the street on this filler card to line up my letters, so that they kind of go in the same angle as everything else on this card. And then that's going to do it. So there are lots and lots of close-up photos coming up. I hope you enjoyed this process. I know this video was rather long. I had a lot to say apparently. But there are lots of close-ups so you can see all the details in the spread. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you like what I'm doing. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button so that you can see new videos when they come out. So thanks again for watching. I will see you all back here very soon.